Brave Maker Show is hosted by Tony Gaffestone and Christina Jackson. Thanks for tuning in. It's showtime.
That's right. It's showtime. We're live. It's Friday. I'm Tony Gaffestone. I'm one of your hosts of the Brave Maker Show. I'm in Redwood City, California. I am an actor, a writer, and a director, and I love films and storytelling. And we're here to have another great conversation with makers from all across the world. Co-host Christina, what's up?
Hi, what's going on? I'm Christina Ray Jackson, actor, singer, comic book writer, coming to you from Dublin, California, in the East Bay, just right east of San Francisco. Yeah, I'm super excited for today's show. As you can tell, we're still celebrating St. Patrick's Day. So happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. If you want to come party with us in Dublin, type in Dublin, California celebrations because we're going all through the weekend. And I'm rocking the Green Lantern today. Shout out to Ron Mars. He's my comic book coach. And he brought a lot of the Green Lantern adventures to life for us. So yeah, enjoying the holiday.
If you're just tuning in, because we know we have new guests who are watching live, probably because of your friends who are on the show today, you need to know about us, the fact that every Friday we're here chatting, and we always start the show before we bring in our guests. We start the show with this question: how are you braving your way toward your creative goals, right? And Christina often talks about this comic book she's working on and her mentor, which I love. But so Christina, tell me, what have you done this week to brave your way? Because it just takes one thing.
Yep, just one thing. And this might be an indication of the week I've had. But this week I've been braving my way with guided chakra meditations. So I love, if you want to go on YouTube, type in great meditations. They have some fantastic guided chakra meditations. The one I've been doing lately is just 10 minutes. But if you want to go wild and really indulge yourself, some of them go on for hours, 2 hours, 5 hours, 10 hours. You could be lost. And what I really love about the chakra meditations is it really harnesses the power of intention, getting still and getting focused and stepping outside of the stream of thought. Everything, we're always spinning like a million plates. We have so many projects going on all the time. And it can get stressful. So yeah, I love me some meditation. So that's how I'm braving my way. Tony, how are you braving your way this week?
Christina, she texted me that link, and I'm going to put that in the chat for you all too.
Yeah.
So you can do that and follow that. So I'm braving my way this week. I just asked people for some help on the film that I'm working on right now. We kind of sometimes minimize how much help we need to bring our projects to life. And we talk about every week, hey, just do one little thing to move your projects forward. So this week I messaged 2 different people and I said, okay, so here's the trailer that I've made for this feature film. How can you help me? Here's some ways I think you might be able to help me. What do you think? And then another guy talked to on the phone today from a connection from a friend of mine who just said, hey, here's an investor potential. Tell him your story. So I'm on the phone asking for money. So that's how I braved my way. It's so hard, right? It's just so hard to ask for money. But the reality is you need resources to make your stuff. And I'm tired of the scarcity mentality from artists, from creatives. Like, oh, I'm just struggling this. I'm struggling that. No, you're not. You don't have to be. So use the resources you have. Use your own money. You ask your friends to partner. It's not just that you're being used. It's saying, no, we're going to do something and collaborate together. So that was how I braved my way. Those of you who are watching on the replay or watching live, we always want to know from you too. What are you doing to brave your way? Damien, by the way, is saying it's great to feel grounded and centered. Yes, Damien, you're talking about those chakras. Right on.
Hey,
And
Damien. Hey, he's a classmate. Shout out to Damien. He's my scene partner,
Damien,
actually. That's cool.
right on. Well, there's the link in the chat for you, Damien. I'm glad you get to work with this phenomenal human being in green with love today for Christina Jackson. All right, let's get to our show today.
Yes.
We are talking to a good portion of the film team of a short film called The Impending Loop. We shared it with you, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks ago during Black History Month. We put it out on our social media today, and we have a lot of people for you to meet. So let's welcome, first and foremost, the writer and director, MJ Sugrue. Welcome, MJ.
Welcome, MJ.
Thank you guys for having me.
So let's just start it off. Christina, we want to get into it. You got the first
let's
question.
jump into it. Okay, so MJ, we want to know, tell us about why this film was important to you. Why did you want to bring this story to life? How did it begin to blossom?
That's a very good question. I will say, you mentioned that this is a good-sized portion of the cast and crew. We actually had a lot more people that helped out on the film that I'm extremely grateful for. Me and John pulled a lot of favors here, and we're really extremely happy with the results. So credit goes to all the people behind the scenes that helped make this become a reality. The film is really about, when I was a kid, my mother would come up the steps every night from the kitchen when she would shut the kitchen down for the night. And right there's Dorian filling up his glass. She would fill up a glass of gin, was my mom's drink, and I could hear those ice cubes coming up the stairs every single night. And at some point when I was, 10 or 12, I started to pretend that I was asleep. And my mom is getting into her late 80s now. She was, older when I was born, and she is a firecracker. She's beaten cancer twice. She used to smoke. She is just alive and kicking, and just really, really inspiring to me. So I wrote this film as a little ode to the memories I have of her, and a little bit of regret. When I turned, probably 12 or 13, kind of pretending to be asleep. And I really wish I had those moments back sometimes, particularly in the lockdown, just to be able to talk to my mom again.
Wow.
I think the ode to your mom is a beautiful way into the film. That's really cool. I want to talk about, too, being that you're a white man writing and directing a story that totally features a Black cast. I thought that was beautiful, and I appreciate that. So let's talk about that a little bit, like in your casting decisions and how and why that was important for you.
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a fair question. I think the short answer is it's just more interesting to me. I obviously realize a lot of people don't feel this way, but people that are different than me, they have a lot of experience that I just don't know about. And certainly this day and age, I didn't necessarily think about this when I was writing it. But I get a little more, I'm an intellectually curious person. And I think that there's a little more subtext going on that I don't know about, that as an audience member, I can put myself in the position of the cast. And certainly an African-American comes to the film with an entirely different worldview, likely, than I do in a lot of ways. But there's a lot of shared experiences that people have of every race and gender, ethnicity. And so I think for me, I wanted to focus on things that we have in common, shared experiences, shared stories. So it's not like a major leap. I don't feel like I'm trying to tell a story that is only applicable to white males. It's, I feel, a universal story. But for me, it's particularly interesting to see that story through the eyes of people that are not like me.
Cool. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's an
you guys
important
hear me?
value. Yeah, you were cutting out a little bit. Maybe it's your Wi-Fi strength, but we're with you. We at Brave Maker definitely value elevating stories for justice, diversity, and inclusion. And hearing you say first it started as a homage to your mom and sort of the feelings you had as a son and relationship toward your mom, but then putting it into a Black family, for me, especially in regards to all the injustices we're seeing and all the harm to Black bodies that we're seeing in the world. To me, it felt like a breath of fresh air to absorb a family being family that happened to also be Black, important for me in this time when anti-racism is such an important topic. So from an audience member, it just got me to think, deeper and more. And I appreciate that.
I mean, as the writer, director, when you write these things, you imagine how the audience is going to feel. And, I feel a different way when I see a person on screen who's not white, not like me, not from America. not a Caucasian male. And so the audience, every individual audience member is going to project different things onto what they see on the screen. So for me, it just felt like a more rich film to cast it with, basically people that don't look like me.
Wow.
Well, let's bring in your director of photography, Mr. John Baker. Welcome to the Brave Maker Show.
Welcome, John Baker.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, so we want to know, what is the best way, the best practices to work with the director? How did the two of you come together to execute your vision?
I would say the most important facet of a DP and director relationship is communication. And the sooner it starts, the better the project is going to go. And in this case, with Mike, he's even more unique than others in opening up that process. It started with the script, and he was sharing the script with me in the early stages, and I was giving him feedback on that. So that was really cool to be a part of that, and that further just got me into the story, and had it running in my blood basically. And once the script was in a good place, then we could start talking about style and tone. And from there, we started shot listing the entire film. We spent hours and hours on the phone before we got into, shooting. And the more you can accomplish with a director before getting into a shoot, the smoother everything's going to go. And you're just going to be that much more prepared, especially when those X factors show up during production, because they always do.
I like hearing about the X factors. So before we bring in your actors, those aren't the X factors I'm talking about, but let's talk about the X factors, the challenges that arise on set, and the amount of work that goes into solving problems. If you don't mind, however transparent you want to be, what were some things you two had to conquer and solve together in the process of working together as director and DP?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that one of the first things that I think we both noticed on our scout was that the location didn't really line up with kind of how we saw a few moments in the film. It is honestly purely coincidental that we found this location, which is like a mile from my house and also a mile from John's house, because we live very close to each other, and that's honestly all coincidental. We loved the look of the place, but a few shots, particularly the angle from the kitchen to the couch, for instance, was not set up as the way we sort of drew it up and shared references for it. And so we had to think in the moment, what's the best way we can use the tools at our disposal to make it work, and that's, I would say, a minor concern when you have a cast like this. It's all about the faces on screen and the emotion that's being conveyed. And so I thought they just did such a large degree of the heavy lifting really in that regard. But that said, John did a wonderful job brainstorming in the moment on where we can put the camera.
Yeah, thanks. And it was a pretty tight location too. All the rooms were pretty small in the house, so we had to, find the angles we liked. And often, we'd only have one angle, and that forced us into some wider lens maybe than we would have otherwise used. But it all worked out, and it was great to, this was such a character-driven story, so we didn't really have to show too much of the environment once we got into the characters performing.
Ooh, that's a good one. It's a character-driven story. The characters are driving the story, not the location. Although location's important, and people often say the location is a character, which I love. I think that that's a great point. Is when you want to solve a problem with a problematic location, is just center on your talent, center on the stories and the beautiful faces that were in this film. I think that's a really great comment. Real quick tips. What things to do and not to do? Directors working with DPs and DPs working directors. Any quick things you want to say before we bring your actors in? Because we got a lot of filmmakers watching and listening right now.
Yeah. One thing I'll say on the back of what John just mentioned is that, for a short film like this, obviously budget is a concern. We don't have a huge art department budget. And so, when push comes to shove, just make it darker. Turn the lights down, focus the viewer's attention. And it doesn't really matter, like, what's that vase in the background or something like that. So that got us to move a lot more quickly than having to sort of dress an entire place and really worry about the tone of the film and the performance of the actor a lot more.
Turn the lights down. Such a good one. I was going to comment on the beautiful warmth, the warmth of the film, like that golden light that you had in there. And it is a dark space. It really, I thought, brought a lot of character to it. John, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, keep things simple. Don't make it too complicated because that's going to get you in trouble.
Okay. All right. Well, with that, not trouble, but let's bring in Dorian and Tisa, two of your actors.
Welcome, you guys. Hey. So wild to see you guys now after watching your fantastic performances in this film. So please, if we could start with Dorian, tell us, how did you become a part of this project? What did it mean to you to be a part of bringing MJ's story to life?
I got lucky. I auditioned, and then and he chose me. That's the
that's the sort of it.
That's the simple part of it. When he explained it to me, that, you know, because I read it originally and I thought it was a pretty good story, but then when he explained that it was from his own life, his own experience, you know, it really touched me even more so. And then the simple fact that there was no color, as far as no race. When he chose it, that he decided, you know, I'm gonna use it as a Black family. He could have chose any other family, Asian family, Middle Eastern family. It didn't matter. From talking to him, that's what I realized, that it was colorless. It was, you know, it was completely colorblind. Let's put it like that. And it was beautiful. I had fun working with him. He's easy to talk to, and you know, if you have questions, he answered them as best as he could. You know, the rest of it is just, you know, you just gotta don't look like, you know, you're afraid of the camera, and don't act, just be. And it was easy because the writing was so effortlessly to read and understand them. You know, it was really, really well done. I appreciated it a lot being in this film.
I love that. I love what you said about it being colorless, because I feel like for that reason, it really highlights our shared humanity.
Yeah.
Like you said, it could have been any colored family and the story would still resonate with most of us. So yeah, I think that's fantastic. So same question for you, Tisa. How did you become a part of this project? What did it mean to you to get to work with MJ?
Well, it was truly a pleasure to get picked. When I spoke to Mike, he thought, "Oh, you're perfect for this film." And I thought, "Who, me? Okay, great. I'm down. I'll do it." It was such a surreal experience to actually embody Mike's mother and to be part of the 80s era. There was one moment in between takes, and Mike and I were sitting down, and he said, "Oh my God, I feel like I'm straight off of the set of 227. I literally had on a shoulder padded blouse." And I just thought that was great, because 227 was like one of my favorite shows ever growing up. But I can definitely say that the crew and the cast just gave their hearts and definitely embodied the whole compassionate level that we were trying to convey with the tone of the film. And I know that based on the feedback that we've received, either people wanted to see more, or they either cried, or they were trying to hold back their tears. So it was just such a warm environment, and it just literally felt like home. You know, it didn't even feel like anyone was acting. Everyone felt so genuine and real. And the gentleman that was cast as my son, I'm like, "Oh my God, you look like me. You're like my son." So it was beautiful. Definitely beautiful. And it didn't feel like work at all.
Gotta love that when it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
Well, in the same way, I would love to hear actors. You get to talk about working with a director and a DP and MJ and John, but what are some things that were really helpful for you? What are some tips that you would give to other actors when trying to find characters and make their way on a set? Anything you want to share? And Dorian, why don't we start with you?
As far as working with a really, really good director, a lot of people can take lessons from MJ. Like I said, you know, he already has his vision about what he wants to do. And sometimes because of the sets and whatever, like they explained before, some of that changes. And, you know, your where you're going to move your actors, change and this and that. And sometimes your thought process behind that change, your backstory has to change just a little bit to fit in with that. And MJ was great. Like I said, it was, I didn't have to ask too many questions because he was already upfront with a lot of things. And it was great. And then, man, to have a beautiful DP is a dream, not only for the directors, but for us actors, because the DP that's the person who actually directs everything. He tells you where to go and everything and makes sure that, you're not in the way, and you can ask your DP, hey, this is cool and this and that. Because they actually listened to a couple of things that I said about, well, what if we shot on this side? And DP looked at it. At first he looked at me, he was like, nah, you're stupid. But then he thought about it, said, nah, it's okay, Dorian. It was good.
Right. John, talk about that moment.
But it was really great. It was truly fun. And to have you have to be able to listen to your actors, and your actors need to listen to your directors and your DP, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Just, some of this stuff you should, like, I'm not going to say you should already know, but a lot of us have seen enough film, and a lot of us had our own experiences. So where we can tap into a lot of this stuff. The rest of it that we don't know is just a good guidance from the director about which way to go,
Mm-hmm.
I want to just point out that idea too of listening and taking people's suggestions. It's hard to do sometimes when you have such a strong vision. So kudos to you, MJ and John, for being willing to listen, and Dorian also sharing. I think that's a really beautiful thing when real people feel that there's a collaboration. Like we're all human beings. No one's above. You might be director, I might be actor or PA or whoever, but if we all care about the best for the project, we're going to say that without ego and humbly. So that's huge. Tisha, you want to add to that question?
Sure. I'll even piggyback on what Dorian said. Mike and John were like your best friends next door. When I met them both, I was like, oh, I know both of these guys. These guys are great. The thing that I really enjoyed about Mike is that he would always check in every scene, every moment. How are you doing? Is everything okay? How does this feel? And although he had a direction, both he and John, he would ask for input and find out, hey, should we do it like this? Or maybe we should do it like this? Or how does it feel if we do it like this? And I just thought that was phenomenal, as opposed to a director that's saying, this is how it should be done. I need you to do it this way. And this is the only way that can be done. So I thought that was phenomenal. And then I thought it was so cool how in between takes, I would see Mike and John kind of coming together and saying, oh, I think it works well this way, or maybe we should do it this way. So I just thought it was just so cool to actually see the whole process just come alive right in front of my eyes. It was really great.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
I'll say one thing. That scene where they were talking about before, coming from the kitchen to the living room, me walking to the kitchen living room, was a difficult scene because of the lighting and everything. And it just showed the respect and friendship and trust that they had with each other to make that scene happen, because nobody stepped on each other's toes about it. They listened to each other and they tried it out until they finally got it to work right. And that collaboration, I'm telling you, is paramount when it comes to filmmaking. Your director and DP, you guys should be, listening to each other a lot and just doing and see what happens,
Wow. So they're saying some fantastic things about you, Mike and John. So can you guys talk a little bit about how do you create that environment on set where your actors and everyone involved feels so supported and respected that they can speak up about even the smallest things to execute your vision in the best way possible? How do you do that on set? I'll give that to MJ first.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think when you're, at least in my experience, directing, you're the head of the whole kind of operation. And that's a lot of responsibility. And I certainly have a lot of insecurity about that sometimes. And you could correct for that by yelling at people or trying to be extra forceful. I try to correct for that insecurity by lightening the load, lightening the reins, and trying to engage more and ask more questions, because you know, you're setting the tone for the whole vibe of everything. If you choose to go, I mean, I have a little 3-year-old girl. It's like, it's about setting the tone. So you got to just set the right tone and allow people's creativity and, you know, passion to come through, and just let them honestly feel safe. If they feel safe, then there's no real risk, and we can take chances and we can have fun doing it. I mean, I got extremely lucky with the cast and the crew on this one. You know, there's a small community of filmmakers here in the Bay Area. So, you know, the gaffer and the grip and the art director on this, we all know each other from doing, you know, commercial and corporate gigs. And when I heard Tisha's voice, I thought, that's so butter. I mean, it's just a beautiful voice. Like this, she'd be perfect for this role. She performed in her audition. And then, you know, Dorian, I mean, that guy does Lando Calrissian, you know, like, so he's a very experienced, very, very talented actor. And there's a commercial he's on right now. Every time I'm like, that's my man Dorian when he comes on TV. And it's just a really great environment. You know, we don't do this because of the money. At least I don't. And I might as well enjoy it. So
what money? What do you speak of, sir?
Yeah. So
That's
really,
great.
the name of the
Awesome.
game is just putting yourself in a comfortable place with your friends. That's how you get it done.
Ooh, putting yourself in a comfortable place with your friends. I like that. And thanks for creating a safe environment for creatives to speak up. John, did you want to add to that question?
Oh yeah. Yeah. As far as not doing it for the money, I mean, this was a passion project. It was all done for the love of creating. And I think, you know, that was the vibe that, you know, sort of drove this whole thing. We just created that feeling in that space. And I also want to say, you know, it's also just how you carry yourself as a person. I want to be a good citizen out in the world. And, you know, that's me on set too. You know, just be respectful, and, you know, everybody has a voice, and, you know, if somebody has something to say, they should be heard.
I love it. Yeah, we talk about this, Christina, a lot, right? With the no a-hole policy. Like, we don't have time for jerks, really. Like, there's just too many great things, too many stories to tell. You know, this business is a business, but it's also relationships. We want to make stuff with the people we like hanging out with. If you're spending 12 to 14 to 16 hours on a set a day, we want to work with people who are fun to work with. So I wholeheartedly agree. And shout out to the Bay Area. I know we have people watching that are beyond Bay Area, but it's cool to have Bay Area filmmakers with us because we're centered here in the Bay Area. We love the Bay Area. We got a few minutes for questions. If anybody wanted to shout out anything, you got some fans who are in the comments. So Mary's saying, so proud of your vision, cousin. Damien's saying, I admire the decision to cast people with different backgrounds. It adds a different layer to the film too, and highlights the shared humanity. Truth bomb dropped. Robertino says, now more than ever, woke to cast. Crew, directors, scripts that are diverse and inclusive for LGBTQ plus women, people of color, etc. Great decision on your cast and great work overall. Mary says, thanks for allowing us to share in your success. You got a cuz. Is that Cuzzo? And that's what I'm thinking that is. I don't know. Or Cizo, what is that? What's up, Cuzzo? Angelo. Okay, yeah. And TK says Tisa's voice is like butter. So true. So if anybody who's watching us live, we also will have this on the replay and the podcast. You can't submit questions, but you can find these filmmakers and DM them on Instagram and stuff to ask questions. But if anyone who's watching live has any more questions before we go into our final segment, I guess I just kind of like to know hard things in short responses, if you can. What are some of the hardest things, or was something that was difficult? You talked about the space, but after learning what you did on this project that you'll do different in the future. So something that you know you should do different in the future based on what you learned on this project. I always like talking to makers about that. It's not like regret or shame, but like, oh, I think next time I would do this because of what I learned. Anyone have a quick response on that?
I would say I will revisit my expectations for timing on the shoot day.
Mm-hmm. Like going over your shot list and stuff and what you can realistically get done.
We worked fast, but it was a couple long days, and I think I went a little over than what I promised our cast and crew. So I do apologize for that officially.
What was the actual shoot? How many days?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was 2-day shoot, 2 nights.
Okay.
What did we roll in, John? Like 4 maybe, and we probably maybe 2 to 4 somewhere we rolled in, and we were getting out after midnight. It's not that bad, but some people had drives. I know it's tough in the nighttime. but just setting your expectations for your shoot day would be my one thing I constantly revisit.
That's great. Anybody else? What'd you learn? What will you do different next time?
Next time, I'd make sure my director has a trail mix for me.
What?
Oh yeah. I had trail mix and some other food, but the trail mix to take home was the business.
The food on set is important, isn't it? Yeah, and now it's all changing because of COVID. It's got to be all individually wrapped. So
it was all in the bag.
Okay, all right, good.
Yeah.
Did you film this before COVID, by the way? Was this filmed during COVID?
During COVID.
Oh wow! Okay,
We
kudos
filmed this
to you all.
in COVID.
And
Yeah.
COVID.
Wow. Well, great.
Yeah.
Quick turnaround. Good job. Well, if anyone else is in the chat, you want to ask a question, you got a minute or two to do that. Anybody else? Tisha, John, you want to share anything you learned that you want to do different, things that you recognize next project?
Well, for me, I would just say just to stay relaxed. I mean, the environment was just so calm and everyone was just so great. I was coming in to think, oh my God, I'm on this movie set and everyone's going to be intense, but just moving forward, just to stay calm. No, everything will just be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Do the chakra meditation stuff that Christina talked
There you
about
go.
earlier on.
I do that. That is awesome. Good job.
If you're listening to us on the replay on the podcast, we will have that link in the show notes so that you can do those YouTube routines with Christina. All right, cool. Well, we're really glad that you're with us today. Thank you so much for joining for a great film. The link is also in the chat too. If you want to go watch it, please share it as well so that this film team can get their film out in the world, and hopefully you guys could do some new things. I know, Christina, I know you wanted to ask what was the next thing for each of them, right?
Yes. I want to ask each of you what's up next, and let's start with Dorian. What's your next project? What are you up to?
I just laid down about 7 auditions this week alone.
Nice.
For different TV projects because everything is opening back up. And I am recording for the PS5 next week. And that's it.
Is that a voice thing? Because you got a voice, Dorian. Your voice is on
do.
I
point.
do a lot of voice acting. The last
yeah.
big thing, I'm in the Pixar film Soul.
What?
Yeah. I'm in the barbershop scene if you hear it.
I could hear that. Kudos to you, Dorian. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Congrats.
All right. Tisha.
Yeah, Tisha.
Yeah, everyone hold on to your seats and stay posted for my animated comic creation, Dynamite and the Love Revolution. It will be very soon, as well as I'm anxious to start 3rd session of my acting course. That's in Powerhouse with the Meisner technique.
Yeah.
As well as I'm going to be assisting my dear actor friend, Tom Sizemore, in starting his acting school. So if anyone's interested in coaching or acting, you know where to find me.
I heard that.
Tisha, right on. John,
what's up? What's next for you?
I've got a few commercials that are in play. I don't want to say what they are because I don't want to jinx anything. But this was actually my first narrative project, which I totally fell in love with doing, and look forward to having another opportunity to do something like this again soon.
good for you. Great work. Great work.
All right,
my next
MJ,
thing
what's up next?
Yeah, I am actually remotely directing a documentary about an American-born boxer trying to fight for Laos for this summer's Olympics. And so I've actually just got some more footage in this morning, and it's a really interesting story. I think it'll be really interesting to see what happens with the film too. And I'll be in touch with John likely about shooting some of that probably down in Los Angeles in the coming months.
That's super cool. Well, good. I love it. Good luck to you all, and stay around for our final segment, everybody.
Brave Faves. TV shows, films, books, songs, technology, clothing, podcast, food, and more. These are a few of our favorite people, places, and things. Brave Faves.
So I'll go first. Last week, I recommended my Brave Fave was the South by Southwest Film Festival, and I've been watching that online. It continues through the 20th. I'm seeing some great films. One that stands out is called The Fallout. It is starring Jenna Ortega, written and directed by Megan Park. Niles Fitch is in there who is a friend of our of Brave Maker, came here at the end of 2019, is on episode number 39 of our show. It was great. The Fallout is about the fallout that our American teenagers have to deal with because of the shootings and the rampant lack of gun control in our country. So be on the lookout for the feature film called The Fallout. MJ, what do you got?
Well, I'm a big Jeopardy nerd. And of course, I know that Alex Trebek is not hosting the show, and they've had a lot of fun with the new hosts. I encourage everyone to watch Jeopardy just for pure intellectual curiosity. But the other day, there you are, Sting at the end of the show laid down the Jeopardy theme song in his buttery voice. So that was kind of cool. A little surprise at the end of the episode to find that one.
You like buttery voices, MJ. That's
buttery
great.
voices, like that's the highest bar I could imagine. Sting and Tisa and Dorian, they got butter voices. What can I say?
I love it. Okay, cool. We're gonna throw that link in the chat. John, what about you?
I'm kind of a shy person, so this past week I've been practicing being fearless and just trying to reach out to people and put myself out into the world.
Do it. Be fearless. Be brave. Brave your own way. That's what we say around here. Awesome. Thank you, John. Let's go to Dorian.
I'm all things anime. Cowboy Bebop, greatest anime of all time as far as I'm concerned. And that's what I do. I think everybody should do it. Watch anime. It'll change your life.
And is that what you have going on behind you?
I have anime. That's right. Anime here. Star Wars in the back over there.
Yeah. And Cowboy Bebop, we will also put a link in the chat as well, so y'all can see that. I just found it on YouTube. I don't know if I'll be able to grab it here quickly, but I will. But awesome. You have a connection in Christina, who's also in this foray as well. So you all should connect and talk about that. Heck yeah. Cool. Tisha, what you got?
The United States versus Billie Holiday. The film on Hulu was spectacular. Andra Day, of course, she won the Golden Globe. Her performance was stellar. That film is phenomenal. So if you haven't seen it, please see it.
Fantastic. Christina. Ooh, hold on, Christina. We got you muted. Hold on. There you go. You're in.
Okay, yeah. So I'm currently obsessed with the Grammys rendition of Mercy, Mercy Me by Marvin Gaye. A lot of the nominees and winners. If you haven't seen it, you have to just pull it up on YouTube. It's such a phenomenal song, and what they were able to do with it, it was just absolutely beautiful. I spent like 4 hours watching the Grammys Wednesday, and it's just amazing. So yeah, I'm that's my brave fave, the Mercy Mercy Me Grammy rendition.
Sweet. Well, hey, this has been awesome. Thank you all for watching and hanging out with us. Those of you who are new to us, because all these fans of Impending Loop filmmakers and actors, we're really glad that you were with us today. I hope that you will go to our website, which is bravemaker.com, and you can join our mailing list. Every 2 weeks or so, we send out an email. This very short film was sent out to our subscribers about a month ago, and we would love to send you free films, conferences and workshops and things that are happening that would encourage you to move your creative dreams forward. And occasionally, we've got special guests and special things that are only happening that you can find out through our email list. So please go to bravemaker.com/buzz to sign up today. And we are a 501c3 nonprofit. So all the work that we do, the gear that we have, the microphone, Christina has a new microphone. Look at Christina's new microphone. All of that is because of those of you who support us and help us to do this work. We love being able to support creatives. We love being able to elevate brave stories for justice, diversity, and inclusion. That's what we want to be about. You can use your phone. You can text the word Brave Maker to 44321. We've got so many things coming up in this next month. We have a Brave Maker documentary forum. Literally, go to bravemaker.com/doc-forum, and you will see we have Oscar-nominated filmmakers who will be with us on March 27th. It's amazing. We have a actors workshop coming up in April. We have a pitch fest coming up in June. The pitch fest is going to feature the creator of Lost, ABC's show Lost, who also showruns NCIS New Orleans, Rules of Harassment. I mean, he's done so many things. Jeffrey Lieber is his name. Bravemaker.com is where you want to go. You can follow us on all the socials at bravemaker.org. All right, that's it, y'all. Thank you so much to everybody from Impending Loop. You're all fantastic. John and MJ and Dorian and Tisha. I hope we can stay connected. follow us on all the socials, and hopefully when you guys make something next, which sounds like you all are, you can come back and share it with us.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Definitely. Thank you,
Yeah,
guys.
thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank
Heck
you.
yeah. Heck yeah. All right. Well, we always say at the end of the show, brave stories change the world.
And you are the story. Goodbye, everybody.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at bravemaker.org. Like, subscribe, and share. To become a monthly donor, text the word BraveMaker to 44321 or go to bravemaker.com/donate. Thanks for tuning in.